Welcome to the Real World EV Efficiency Test. This week we have the 2024 Kia EV9 GT-Line all-wheel drive with 379 horsepower, 270 miles of EPA rated range, and a 99.8 kilowatt hour battery. You do the calculations on that and it's about 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. So that is what we are going to be aiming for today. But before we get this test started, let's take a quick look at this thing because it's pretty awesome. Take a quick look at the front here. You see these headlights just have multiple LED lights right here. And if we can get this on the camera, I'm not sure that we can, but there are small little LED lights behind this panel that light up at night. It's pretty cool. Come around to this side, you've got these GT-Line 21-inch wheels. They are just massive. Come around to the cargo space back here. You don't have a huge amount of space back here, about 20 cubic feet, but I like how these seats are set down a little bit lower. It might cause your knees to sit a little high out there, but at least this way, when you lower these seats, then they sit flat and you have a huge cargo area that you can use. And this does have a setting for your cargo, so you can adjust that cargo lift right there, and then you have a 12-volt plug back here. So you got a little bit of power back here. You got some tie downs, which is good. And you do have a 120 back here. That's awesome. Okay, it for the back. Let's take a look at the back seats here. And yeah, huge amount of space in here. And I love the color combination in here. This light with the black, it just looks awesome. There's these crazy headrests, but they are super comfortable. Get in here and we'll look, and you can see the front here, what it kind of looks like. It's pretty nice. And go ahead and open this up, and you guys can see space in the doors and everything, and you have all of your buttons and controls for your windows and mirrors right here. But what I like is all of your seat buttons are right here on the side instead of having to find them somewhere in the infotainment screen or in the center console. Your controls are right here on your door. It's pretty awesome. All right, that is a quick look at the interior in here. A lot of room, a lot of wide open space in here. Okay, well, that's a little bit about the car, but let's go ahead and head to the gas station and we'll get this test started. No, we're not actually getting gas, but that's where all of our tests start, is at the gas station. Now, I'm gonna give you some information about how we do our testing during the drive, but let's get this test started. All right, we are at our starting point at the gas station. There it is right there. Same place we always start every test for the EV efficiency and the mile per gallon test. So we're gonna reset everything and then we're gonna get the test started. On the way to our first town, I'm going to give you the parameters of the test and then I'll update you when we enter town. So we are going to go to since last reset. This is where we're gonna start. So we're gonna reset this. There we go. We are reset and we are ready to go. These are going to be the parameters of the test. Now, EV is just slightly different than the mile per gallon test, but mostly it's the same. So the only thing that might be a little different is the settings on the car. We do drive this in normal mode, not sport or eco. We're not trying to minimize or maximize the efficiency of the vehicle. Temperature inside will be set between 68 and 70. Right now we have it set on 70 and it seems to be pretty good, pretty comfortable. The other thing is that we drive 5 miles per hour over the speed limit because that is the average of what most people do. So we are 60 on the highway, between 35 and 50 in town, and 75 out on the interstate. That is pretty much all we have to worry about on that part of it. So we're going to drive 100 miles. We're going to drive 50 miles in one direction. We're going to turn around and drive 50 miles in the exact opposite direction. The reason we do that is to counteract any terrain or wind climate issues, okay? That way every car has the same baseline. We're gonna drive through 2 towns in the first part, those same 2 towns on the second half of it. Both times we will make loops through those towns to hit stoplights, stop signs, traffic, that type of real world driving issues. Then we'll get up on the interstate, drive about 10 or 12 miles. We'll hit about our 50-mile turnaround point. We will turn around and then we will head back and work our way back through all of that same stuff back to the gas station. And that will be our ending point. At that time, we will check to see what our miles per kilowatt hour are. They are supposed to average around 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour to reach that 270 EPA mile range. If it is over or under the 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour that we are supposed to average, then we will do the calculations and we will tell you what the mileage would be if you got that every day. We are getting ready to come into our first town, so I'm going to update you on where we're sitting right now. We just entered our first town, and so far we have driven 4.4 miles and 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. So we're dragging a little bit behind, but we were on the highway. We'll probably pick a lot of that up here in town. See, we're already getting into some stop and go traffic. All right. It's a nice Bronco there. I'm gonna make a loop through this town and I will update you after the loop as we head back out onto the highway. We've made the loop through town and we're back out on the highway. So far, 8.3 miles and 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. I did see 3.1 at one point, but we just had to accelerate up onto the highway, so it kind of went down a little bit. We're heading to our next town, and on the way, I'm going to give you more information about this Kia EV9 GT-Line. The Kia EV9 has won tons of awards, and including EV of the year, I believe. I think they even may have won car of the year. I'm not positive on that one, but there are about 4 or 5 media outlets that gave the Kia EV9 their top award. And it is amazing. One thing that I can tell you, I've only been driving this for about a day, and the seats are amazing. They are the most comfortable that I have sat in a while. The Ford Explorer ST seats were really nice. These are just another level. So the bolstering on this, not only can you adjust it, but it adjusts for your driving mode and how you're driving. If I put this to the floor, and once I get over about 65 miles per hour, the bolstering tightens in around me, and it cocks the whole chair in a different angle to get you into like a race mode. It's pretty awesome. It does the same thing when you put it in sport mode. It adjusts the seat, just grabs you and moves around and gets you all set to go racing. It's just awesome. And it's a 3-row SUV. Now, I believe that this is the first electric 3-row SUV to hit the market. Now the EX90 from Volvo is out also, but this just amazed everyone. And I still am amazed at how well this thing drives. It is super smooth. You've got over 5,000 pounds of weight on this thing with almost 100 kilowatt hour battery. That is a lot of weight, and this thing just drives smooth. All the bumps are nice and smooth. You get some sharp ones that'll give you just a little bit of a jostle, but everything else is just smooth. It's amazing. They've done a great job with the dampening and the suspension in this thing. It's what you would expect from an SUV, but it drives like a sports car. That's pretty cool. So you can get the EV9 in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Now your front wheel drive is going to give you the most mileage on the big battery. So the base model Lite with rear wheel drive is going to give you about 230 miles of range. If you get the long range Lite, which has the big battery, you will get 304 miles of range. If you go to the all-wheel drive, of course, that stuff starts to drop. This GT-Line all-wheel drive with 379 horsepower, this one is going to give you 270 miles of range. Now, that is pretty good, but it's not great compared to, it does have a 100 kilowatt hour battery or a 99.8 kilowatt hour battery. That means that it's not extremely efficient, but for the size of this vehicle and it being an SUV and a just giant machine, this thing, I mean, honestly, that 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour is actually pretty good. I believe that there are some smaller crossovers that won't do that, or that won't even, it can't even achieve that. So this thing is pretty efficient for what it is. I talked about two different battery sizes. One is a 76.1 kilowatt hour battery, which, like I said, is in the base model Lite that gives you 230 miles, and your big battery, which is the 99.8 kilowatt hour battery, is going to give you anywhere from 270 miles of range up to 304 miles of range. Maximum charging speed on this is going to be about 230 kilowatts. Car and Driver said you can add 100 miles of range in 13 minutes, and you can go 10% to 90% in about 37 minutes, which is really impressive because most of the time it drops off heavily at around 80%, and it might take you another 5 or 10 minutes just to get to 90%. This is actually charging deeper into the pack, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about some pricing, because any other information that you want to know, you want to see the full interior and know more information about this, you can watch the full review, which is up on the channel right now. Let's talk about the pricing. It's actually pretty good, and it's pretty on par with the larger 3-row SUVs. So the Lite with the standard battery is going to give you 230 miles of range. It's going to start out at $54,900. If you go up to the rear-wheel drive Lite long range, you're going to get 304 miles, and that's going to start out at $59,200. There's a couple more trims in between there, but we're going to go to this GT line that we're driving right now. It's all-wheel drive, 270 miles of range. It's going to start out at $73,900, and then as tested, this one right here with options and destination fees, you're looking at $78,430. Okay, we are getting ready to come into our next town, so I'm going to give you guys an update right now. Entering our second town, and so far we are at 29 miles driven and 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So we are doing really well. We're up above what we're supposed to be, so it's doing really good. We may gain a little bit more driving through town because we're going to do a loop through this town, and afterwards I will give you an update before we get up on the interstate. All right, we made our loop through town, and so far we're at 36.2 miles and 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour. So we are staying quite a bit above where we are supposed to average, but we are getting ready to get on the interstate right here. And all of that is gonna change because the difference between gas and electric vehicles are electric vehicles like to be driven in town and not as much on the interstate, where gas vehicles do better on the highways and interstates than they do in town. So, all right, we're gonna get to accelerate very quickly here, get up to speed. And there we go. We'll get locked in here at 75. All right, we can get over. Okay, so we're locked in at 75 now. And we are at 37.4 miles and 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So we should expect to see that drop, but you just never know. You can see the line down at the bottom. That is telling us what we are averaging, and it's slowly going down, and we'll go down below the little arrow there. So, okay. We are coming up on our turnaround point. As you can see right now, we just hit 50 miles and 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So you can see that really did drop off. We're going to be getting off the interstate right here. So we'll get to pull in some regen, which I did fail to mention that we do have multi-level regen on this, and I have it set on level 3. You see it right down there by the battery percentage. We're down to 80%. I don't have it on I-pedal, which is the one pedal driving for Kia, because there are a large amount of people that do not drive with one pedal driving. There's a lot of people that don't like it, and there's a lot of people that the regen is not the best for them. They don't like the way that it feels. So we went to a happy medium for most EV drivers and put it at level 3. So we don't have full one pedal driving on, but we do have a fairly aggressive regen that just doesn't bring you to a complete stop. We have found that a lot of people like to drive and still use their brake pedal to actually pull them to a stop. So that's the way that we've decided to run these tests. So now we have a little fun. So let's go out and around this guy right here. See ya! We are gone. All right. We're going to get settled in to 75, and it just took me about a second and a half to get all the way around that semi and about a half a mile ahead of him. This thing is quick. All right, so we are at 51.7 miles, 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Looks like we're probably going to lose a little bit more on the interstate here. So I will update you when we get ready to get off of the interstate and head back into town. We're coming up on our exit off of the interstate to head back into town. So far, we are 64 miles, 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. So we're dead on where we're supposed to be, but getting ready to head back into town. So we are going to pick some more of that back up. So as soon as we get through town, we're actually going to make a loop through this town, and once we complete that loop and start heading back out onto the highway, I will give you another update. We made the loop through town, and we are now back out onto the highway. So we are looking at 72.3 miles and 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So just above what we're supposed to be rated. So we're heading to our next town, and I will update you when we get there. We have entered town, and so far we are at 93.6 miles, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. So we are still above what we should expect to get of 2.7. So we're going to make a loop through this town, And after that loop, I will give you guys another update as we get back on the highway and head back to our ending point, which is the gas station. We made our loop through town and we are heading back to our ending point, which is the gas station. So right now we are at 97.4 miles, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. So as soon as we reach the gas station and we stop, I will give you guys an update on our final numbers, and then maybe we'll do some calculating. All right, we have made it back to the gas station. Hopefully you can see that all right, that we are at the gas station. Try to get out of the sun so we can see everything real clear. So this time we registered 101.2 miles, which if you watch these on a regular basis, you see through different manufacturers that we get a little bit different mileage each time. And I drive the same route every single test. The MPG tests and the EV efficiency tests are the exact same route. Everything is always the exact same. 101.2 miles and 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Okay, 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. So that was above the 2.7 that we're supposed to average. Unfortunately, we don't go out any more decimal points on this because it probably, and it might be closer to 3. But I'm going to give you the numbers on 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour and what range you should expect if you are hitting that. Because that's what we should get on a daily basis. So we got 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. We're going to multiply that by the 99.8 kilowatt hour battery that we have. And that is going to give you 289 miles of range. That is awesome because this is rated at 270. This thing is just a beast. It's extremely comfortable seats. You got extremely comfortable ride. You get more range than what is estimated. It's super fast, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. This thing's awesome. The only thing that's going to be even more awesome than this is a full-out GT version, but we haven't got that yet. That hasn't come out yet. It should be coming out soon. So the 2024 Kia EV9 GT-Line all-wheel drive, real-world EV efficiency comes in at 2.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, then click on one of the videos that's on the screen. One is the full review of this Kia EV9, so you can see all the ins and outs of this thing. The other one is one YouTube thought you might enjoy. So you have a blessed day and enjoy the next video.